You probably think you know Southwest Florida, right? Naples, Fort Myers, Cape Coral, the same list that pops up every single time. But here's the truth. Some of the best places to actually live down here, the ones that locals actually love the most, never make those lists. They don't have the flashy marketing, the billion-dollar downtowns, or the postcard perfect beaches. But they've got something better. Space, peace, character, and a lifestyle that still feels like Florida before it got overdeveloped. Hey, I'm Rick Harrison. I live here, I help people move here, and I've seen firsthand which areas just look good on paper and which ones actually feel like home once you unpack. So in this video, we're exploring the Southwest Florida suburbs no one talks about, but absolutely should. These are the places that are hiding in plain sight, the ones locals quietly protect, where your money stretches further, your mornings feel calmer, and the pace of life actually makes sense. Whether you're moving to Florida, relocating within the state, or just trying to find your perfect corner of paradise, you'll want to stick around because the next 20 minutes might just change the way you see Southwest Florida. Let's start with a place that doesn't make a lot of relocation lists. Probably because most people drive right past it on the way to somewhere flashier. But that's exactly what makes it special. If you've ever said you want more space, less traffic, and mornings that actually feel like Florida used to feel, this first suburb might surprise you. Alva sits about 25 minutes east of downtown Fort Myers, just far enough that people call it too rural, too quiet, or too far out. And maybe that used to be true. But what most people miss is that while the rest of Lee County filled up with rooftops and traffic lights, Alva stayed anchored to its roots. It's the kind of place where the Caloosahatchee River still sets the rhythm, not the morning commute. Here's what's wild though. Alva is now becoming one of the last few places in Southwest Florida where you can still find space, water access, and newer construction all in the same zip code. Riverfront homes that would cost $1.5 million in Naples, here they can start in the 600,000s. It's one of those rare places where people actually look forward to staying home. Some of the communities around this area include River Hall, Hampton Lakes, Serenity Cove. You got lots of acre plus lots, plus you have the newer builds. There's also a strong community and small town feel in this area. A lot of the homes that are in or around the river are in flood zones, so you definitely want to check the elevation on those. But you can usually look forward to peaceful morning drives, a lot of wildlife, and some trails along the way. And it's also still undervalued for the riverfront properties there. This is what people picture when they dream about old Florida. Except now, you've got new homes with impact glass, smart layouts, and all the infrastructure the older areas never got right. It's calm, but not disconnected. You can have the acreage and still grab a pub sub 10 minutes away. So if your dream version of Florida looks less like traffic on Daniels Parkway and more like watching the river from your own backyard, Alva might just be your hidden gem. But maybe the river's not what calls to you. Maybe it's the space, the trees, maybe that same country piece, just a little closer to everything. Head a few miles west and you'll find it. Buckingham doesn't make the headlines, and that's exactly why locals love it. No billboards, no shopping plazas, no master plan chaos. Just quiet roads under oak trees, wide lots, and enough room to breathe without needing a boat in the backyard. Some people see it as rural, but locals see it as freedom. No HOA letters, no parking wars, no one telling you what color you can paint your shed. What makes Buckingham so underrated is the balance. You can still get an acre or two of land, sometimes fenced and ready to go, for less than a 2-bedroom condo in Naples. You've got massive oak trees with that Spanish moss, winding roads, horse pastures, but you're only 15 to 20 minutes from downtown Fort Myers or I-75. That's the beauty of it. It feels rural, but you're not that far off. A lot of locals here are firefighters, tradespeople, business owners, the kinds of people who want to work hard, build equity, and not have the neighbors 3 feet away on both sides. So in Buckingham, you can expect to find acre plus lots, lots of mature trees and fenced yards. There's a mix of classic ranch homes plus custom new builds. You also have very few, if no HOAs, and there's really no deed restrictions in most of the areas. There's room for pole barns, boats, and RVs, unlike a lot of other areas in the Fort Myers or even Estero and Cape Coral areas. You also have top-rated school zones nearby, like Buckingham Exceptional and Riverdale High School. It's also close to Lehigh Acres and Fort Myers, so there's a nice commute balance there. Most of the homes out in this area are on septic and wells, so you will have maintenance realities that you'll have to deal with occasionally. Buckingham's also a great spot for the tradespeople, hobby farms, or retirees wanting land. There's a kind of peace in Buckingham you don't find in most suburbs anymore. It's the sound of roosters instead of traffic, the smell of oak and rain instead of asphalt and exhaust. I've met families who've lived out here for generations, and newcomers who came from Naples or Cape Coral because they were just tired of the noise. But if your version of peace comes with salt in the air instead of dirt under your boots, the next spot might be the one. Head west past the Palm Line Causeway and you'll find a world that runs on tides instead of traffic lights. Pine Island doesn't fit the postcard version of Florida. There are no white sand beaches, no high rises, and no resorts. And that's exactly why the people who live here love it. This island isn't polished, it's pure. To most outsiders, it just looks like a sleepy fishing island. But if you ask the locals, it's one of the last real pieces of old Florida left. The kind of place where you know your neighbors, your mail comes by boat, and dinner plans depend on the tide, not open table. Pine Island is the largest island on Florida's Gulf Coast, bigger than Sanibel and Captiva combined. But it's quiet, it's raw, and it's deeply local. You've got two main communities, Bokeelia on the north end with calm canals, pastel cottages, and painterly sunsets, and St. James City down south where the vibe is all about the docks, the boats, and the water. Bokeelia is for your slow mornings, fishing off the pier, art galleries, and bike rides through the pines. St. James City's for your salt-stained afternoons, tiki bars, live music, and direct access to the Gulf in minutes. It's one island, but two completely different energies, and both feel like a secret. Both of these areas are about 30 to 40 minutes from Cape Coral and even Fort Myers if you cross the bridge. There's no beaches, so there's fewer tourists on the island. It's a real fishing village culture here. There's boat lifts and you have Gulf access canals all around. It is a barrier island, so both of these areas are in flood and wind zones, so you're definitely gonna wanna check the elevations on any homes you're looking to purchase, as well as what the insurance rates may be. The community is more tight-knit with a lot of independent locals. There's also a very limited amount of chain stores. It's mostly small shops. And power and cell phone service can be inconsistent after storms. Hurricane Ian was pretty devastating to Pine Island. After all the damage from Hurricane Ian, it's still in the process of recovering. Every time I go out there, I'm reminded that not everyone moves to Florida for golf and gated entrances. Some people come for salt water on their skin, sunsets off the dock, and a sense of peace that you just can't buy in a master plan suburb. Pine Island isn't for everyone, and that's the point. It's for the ones who don't need flash to feel fulfilled. But maybe your version of paradise looks completely different. Maybe you still want peace and community, just in a place that's newer, more connected, maybe built for the way people actually live today. For that, you gotta leave the coast behind. We'll head inland, past the mangroves, past the river until landscape starts to open up again. Out here, something unexpected rises out of the fields. A town that feels almost too perfect to be real. Streets curve gently around palm line parks, music drifts from a town square framed by cafes and fountains, families ride bikes past new homes that all look freshly built, like they rolled straight off a developer's vision board. It doesn't feel like Florida as you know it. It feels like someone designed a small town from scratch on purpose. And they did. This is Ave Maria, a master plan community that started as a college town and evolved into something much bigger. The whole place was built around one simple idea: create a real, connected community from the ground up. Streets that actually connect, parks that get used, neighbors who wave when they pass. It's Florida's newest small town, and it's quietly thriving. Drive through and you'll find palm line boulevards leading to Mediterranean-style piazza, anchored by a massive oratory church at its center. Around it, golf courses, new schools, grocery stores, parks, even its own fire and sheriff station. Median prices in the mid 400,000s get you more square footage, newer systems, and far lower insurance than the coastal areas. You trade the beach for peace of mind. For families, that's a huge win. You've got A-rated charter schools, local festivals, golf carts zipping around instead of traffic jams. It's almost surreal, like suburban life designed to actually work. Now it's about 40 to 45 minutes to Naples and Estero. The HOA rules do vary by village, so you're definitely going to want to read the fine print. And this development offers amenities galore. There's golf, fitness, pools, parks, you name it, it's there. You also have new schools and charter programs on site, so that makes it convenient for families. There's a strong sense of community events and markets that happen all the time. There is limited nightlife in this area. It's more of a town feel, so you will have commute costs to get back to the coast. And with it still being fairly new, construction is still expanding eastward, so you're going to be moving further and further inland now. Resale homes appeal to young families and snowbirds for the most part. There is also a low flood risk versus the coastal cities because you're so far inland. So one of the coolest things about Ave Maria is how connected people feel here. You'll see families walking to dinner, kids biking to school, and neighbors gathering in the square for movie nights or farmers markets. I talked to a couple who moved there from Cape Coral, and they said, "We came for the new build, but stayed because it actually feels like a community." And that's the magic. It's clean, intentional, and safe. You don't come here to hide, you come here to belong. Lower insurance, brand new construction, and a town that actually runs on connection instead of congestion. Ave Maria proves that you don't have to live on the coast to live well. You want the space to breathe, a Naples address, and no one telling you what you can or can't park in your driveway. Because just west of here lies a completely different kind of suburb, one that trades structure for space and rules for room to live. Welcome to Golden Gate Estates, Naples' Wild West. and one of the last places where Florida still feels free. Drive 15 minutes just east of I-75 and it's like a switch flips. The sidewalks fade, the palm line medians vanish, and suddenly every home sits on its own acre or two, or even 10. You start seeing long dirt driveways, metal buildings, and handmade signs that say beware of dogs, or sometimes beware of owner. It's not polished like downtown Naples, but that's the charm. Here, freedom is the amenity. You'll see half-finished barns next to luxury estates, lifted trucks parked beside sports cars, and locals who moved here specifically to escape the cookie-cutter grind. You get peace of mind and a lot more space for your money. So some of the highlights of Golden Gate Estates would include 1 to 5 acre lots, sometimes even more. With that, obviously is gonna come privacy and space. There's no HOA, no deed restrictions. You have modern new builds and old Florida homes all together. The homes here are on septic and wells, so you're gonna definitely wanna plan for maintenance and make sure you get those checked before you make any purchases. You also have a lot of elevated lots, so there's definitely a much lower flood risk here. You also get a nice balance of the wildlife, gophers, tortoises, hawks, coyotes. You'll definitely get that sense out here. The road types, most of them are asphalt, lime, rock, some are even dirt. That's definitely gonna impact the value as opposed to the curated neighborhoods that you're used to seeing in Naples. There are new schools out in Golden Gate Estates, and you're also gonna have a fire station east of Collier Boulevard. Oil Well Road expansion is also starting to improve access there. A lot of this area does get congested because of the limited ways to get access to it. And it's also a great spot for garages, boats, RVs, trades, and homesteads. Some people come for elbow room, privacy, and the freedom to live without rules. I met a guy out there who built his dream house on 3 acres, had a detached garage for his car collection, a chicken coop, and a vegetable garden. I asked him why he didn't buy closer to town, and he said because this is the only place left where I can actually build what I want and not have to ask permission. That's Golden Gate Estates in a sentence. It's Naples, but without the polish. It's for people who don't care about the zip code prestige, they care about space, independence, and a little dirt on their tires. So if you're looking for room to breathe, a big garage, maybe some chickens, and you don't mind washing your truck a little more often, this is your version of Naples paradise. But maybe you want to stay closer to the city grid, something that's not so rural, but not really luxury priced either. The next spot we're heading to brings you right back towards the river, a comeback story in the making that's finally starting to turn heads again. Welcome to North Fort Myers. For decades, North Fort Myers had a reputation, and not a great one. Older homes, tired commercial strips, retirees on golf carts. It was the quieter, less polished cousin to Cape Coral and Fort Myers. People used to say it was where time stood still. But that's exactly what makes it interesting now. Because while other areas built up and priced out, North Fort Myers stayed affordable, and that's giving it a second life. While everyone chased new construction inland, this area started changing quietly, right under everyone's nose. Here's the thing, location still matters, and North Fort Myers might have one of the best in the county. You're minutes from downtown Fort Myers, right across the Edison Bridge, with easy access to Cape Coral, I-75, and the beaches. Over the past few years, new businesses have moved in, infrastructure has been upgraded, and younger buyers have started to rediscover it. You can still find half-acre lots, riverfront properties, and homes with real character for a fraction of what they cost just across the bridge. One of the biggest things you'll notice here is the riverfront homes are about 40 to 60% cheaper than the south side. It's a quick commute to downtown via the Edison Bridge. I live out here and I'm about a 10-minute drive to downtown, and I live closer to the east side of North Fort Myers. You will find a lot of older block homes here, so you do have good remodel value. There's also emerging new construction pockets. I mentioned on this channel several of the new builds right around this area. There's Brightwater Lagoon, Stonehill Manor, and Bayshore Ranch just down the street from where I live. And there's lots of other ones starting to pop up too. You have local parks and preserves, you have Judd Park, and you also have a lot of affordable land and low property taxes. A lot of the homes along the river, like where I live, they are still in flood zones, and if they're older homes, they probably don't have the elevation needed to not have flood insurance. So that's something you're definitely gonna wanna check on. We have public utilities. For instance, we have central water here. My home is on septic, but a lot of the new stuff is all central water and central sewer. You also have a little bit tighter knit local community feel. The local library, just a few minutes down the street from where I live, puts on all kinds of events for families, for kids. There's also a lot of redevelopment going on along North Cleveland Avenue corridor, which is also known as 41. Sometimes it's called South Cleveland Ave or North Cleveland Ave, depending on where you are and which way you're going. I film out here all the time because it's where I live and it's very obviously convenient for me. And I met a couple renovating a 1970s ranch not too long ago right on the river. They told me they looked everywhere, Cape Coral, Lehigh, even Babcock Ranch, but this was the one place where they could still get water views and land without 7-figure price tags. They said, we see what this area is becoming, not what it was. And that stuck with me because that's the story of North Fort Myers right now. So if you want water access, convenience, and value, and you don't mind a little sweat equity, North Fort Myers might be the smartest overlooked move in Southwest Florida right now. Up next, we're heading to a community that's literally running on sunshine. Imagine a town with no power lines, no flood worries, and no leftover zoning mistakes from the 1970s. Everything here is connected, walkable, and self-sustaining. Sounds like a concept drawing, right? Well, it's real, and it's happening right here in Southwest Florida. When Babcock Ranch first broke ground, people laughed. A solar-powered city in the middle of cow pastures, they said. But fast forward a few years, and this place is now a national headline. When Hurricane Ian tore through Southwest Florida, Babcock Ranch barely flinched. Power stayed on, streets stayed dry, homes stayed standing. That was the moment the world realized this wasn't a gimmick. It was proof that Florida's future could actually be resilient. The secret is design. Every home here is built to current hurricane codes on elevated ground, powered by 870-acre solar farm that fuels the entire town. There's a school, grocery store, fitness centers, and restaurants, all connected by golf cart paths and bike trails instead of 6-lane roads. The whole community feels intentional, from the architecture to the landscaping to how stormwater flows. And here's the kicker. The median home price still sits in the mid 500,000s. Not cheap, but considering what you get, energy efficiency, new construction, and storm safety, it's a solid value. And right now, there's also a ton of deals you can find in Babcock Ranch that you aren't gonna find on Zillow. So if you want that information and you'd like to know what's available that you're not seeing, as far as prices and incentives go, feel free to reach out to me. You can find my contact information on the screen. Now here, you're not just buying a home, you're buying peace of mind designed into every single block. Like I said, you have an 870-acre solar field that powers the entire downtown, and it's going to also power the other quads as well as the 3 million square feet of retail that's going in right now. It survived Hurricane Ian nearly untouched. There were a few knocked over trees. I actually went there when we escaped both the other hurricanes afterwards, Helene and Milton. Could barely tell that there was a hurricane going on outside. You also have higher elevation plus the drainage that they've designed into this community, so you have a lot lower flood risk. You also have smart homes, fiber internet, EV charging. HOAs usually cover the lawn, irrigation, and maintenance. There are quite a few HOAs that are relatively low considering what you get for amenities like Crescent Lakes. It's only around $350 per month, and you're getting a community pool, walking obviously around. It's a gated. You have lawn, irrigation, and landscaping all included. It's also been designed so it's walkable. There's schools, shops, parks. Kids ride their bikes or their scooters or even their electronic bikes and scooters to school or around the different areas. You also have a nice array of high quality builders as well as the big box builders like Lennar, Pulte, Meritage, Toll Brothers. And one of the things that draws everybody here, whether they live in Babcock Ranch or they're in the area surrounding it, there's a ton of community events in their quad. They have food trucks, concerts, events, holiday parties, and holiday lights. So even if you live in a community that doesn't have a huge social event, just the entire development itself puts on tons of events every single month. You're about 25 to 35 minutes to Fort Myers or Punta Gorda. It does have a limited nightlife. It's more tailored towards families and kind of that HOA feel, the gated community feel. So you're not gonna have a ton of nightlife like you would find maybe in a downtown Fort Myers, downtown Naples, or even downtown Cape Coral in some cases. I'll never forget filming there right after Ian. Every surrounding town had blue tarps and generators, but Babcock, the lights were still on. I talked to a family sitting on their porch that night and they said, we didn't even lose Wi-Fi. That's when it hit me. This isn't just a cool idea. It's like really a blueprint. You feel it when you walk the streets too. Kids biking past solar panels, people waving from their golf carts, sunsets reflecting off the lakefront homes. It feels like Florida, but smarter. And yet it's not for everyone. There's still construction everywhere. HOA rules are pretty tight, and the town center vibe can feel a little curated. But if you want forward-thinking infrastructure with small town energy, there's nothing else like it in the state. Babcock Ranch proves that Florida can build smarter and survive the storms ahead. But maybe you're not ready for a planned future. Maybe you crave something slower, quieter, something the kind of place where life still runs on island time. Let's head to the coast, to a waterfront town that's been quietly doing livable Florida the old-fashioned way for decades. This is Punta Gorda, a waterfront gem hiding in plain sight. When people think Southwest Florida, they picture Naples, Fort Myers, maybe Cape Coral. Hardly anyone mentions Punta Gorda. Maybe it's the name, maybe it just sounds too sleepy, but that's exactly what makes it special. While everyone's fighting traffic in Naples, Punta Gorda is sitting just 45 minutes north, quietly offering walkable streets, waterfront living, and a lifestyle that still feels like a secret. It's what happens when old Florida grows up right. Downtown feels like a small Gulf Coast town should. Brick-lined streets, local boutiques, outdoor cafes, and sailboats bobbing just steps away. It's surrounded by the Peace River and Charlotte Harbor, which means water is everywhere. Most neighborhoods sit on canals that feed directly into open water, so you can literally boat from your backyard to the Gulf of Mexico. But unlike Fort Myers Beach or Naples, it's not overbuilt. You'll find mid-century homes, new construction waterfronts, and even condos under $400,000 that still put you near the marina. It's laid-back luxury without the attitude. There's also low traffic, so you have a very walkable downtown. You have Fisherman's Village, which has restaurants plus a marina and shops. You also have a strong boating and sailing community here. The median home price is around the mid $400,000. And you also have low crime and A-rated schools for small town size. You also have direct access to I-75, so it's very easy to travel both north and south. So that's what, Punta Gorda gives you. It's not just the beauty, but breathing room. You can bike to the farmer's market on Saturday, hit the marina for lunch, and still make it home without fighting traffic. It's one of the few waterfront towns left where you can actually slow down and still have everything you need pretty close by. Punta Gorda doesn't chase the spotlight though, and that's the secret to its charm. It's the perfect blend of coastal lifestyle, community, and calm. That's the kind of place that quietly checks every box without needing to shout about it. But what if you could have that same waterfront access without the boutique price tag? Just across the bridge, there's a place offering all the same water, all the same sunsets for about half the cost. The sailboats are still here, the sunset's just as good, but instead of cobblestone charm and boutique marinas, you start seeing family neighborhoods, corner diners, and homes that feel a lot more attainable. This is Port Charlotte, the place locals quietly buy when they want all the waterfront without the Naples price tag. For years, it was written off as too plain or too far north. People assumed it was just another inland suburb. But drive around today and you'll see something different. Brand new homes going up on old lots, local restaurants and coffee shops popping up near the harbor, and prices that make you do a double take compared to Fort Myers and Naples. It's not glamorous, but that's what makes it real. You can still live near the water, own your own home, and not spend your life savings doing it. Here's the wild part. Port Charlotte has more waterfront miles than almost any other city in Florida. A maze of canals weaves through the area, connecting inland neighborhoods straight to Charlotte Harbor and the Peace River. That means you can buy a home with a private dock in the 400,000s or even high 300,000s, when that same setup would cost $1.2 million in Naples. You're close to beaches, fishing, and boating, both north and south of that, with direct access to open water, all while staying within a modest budget. And because the area is still developing, investors are quietly moving in. Builders are grabbing canal lots, and retirees are scooping up move-in ready homes faster than most people realize. So you've got waterfront canals, you have Charlotte Harbor access, the median home price is about $350,000 in this area. You also see rapid new construction and infill homes, easy access to I-75, plus Punta Gorda Airport's very close by. The flood zones do vary, so especially on the older homes, you're definitely going to want to check the elevation maps there as well. You have solid hospitals nearby, you have rec centers, golf courses. There really isn't a whole lot of nightlife, but again, there's some really great local dining there as well. And then the big thing in this area is the boating and fishing culture. You still have the affordable insurance versus a lot of the coastal barrier islands like Fort Myers Beach or even Pine Island. It's perfect for retirees and investors or even hybrid snowbirds. I met a family from Michigan who just bought a 3-bedroom canal front home here for under $425,000. And they said, we were looking in Cape Coral, but realized we could get the same water access here for half the price. And we actually like how quiet it is. That's Port Charlotte in a nutshell. It's not flashy, but it's functional, everyday Florida done right. It's where you can still fish off your dock, walk to a local cafe, and know your neighbors by name. And while everyone else is chasing the next master plan suburb, this place is quietly becoming one of the smartest long-term plays on the Gulf Coast. So if Punta Gorda is the polished gem, Port Charlotte is the hidden anchor right beside it. Grounded, affordable, and still full of potential. It's proof that you don't have to choose between lifestyle and logic. And when you put it all together, from the rural freedom of Golden Gate Estates to the innovation of Babcock Ranch, the charm of Punta Gorda, and the value here in Port Charlotte, it's clear there's a lot more to Southwest Florida than the same 5 cities you always hear about. The truth is, the best suburb isn't the one with the fanciest zip code or the biggest headlines. It's the one that actually fits your lifestyle. Maybe for you, that's the quiet river life in Alva, the island charm of Pine Island, the open land of Golden Gate Estates, or the family-friendly design of Ave Maria. Each of these places offers something different, a pace, a price point, or a kind of piece that most people don't even know exists here. The goal isn't to find the most popular suburb, it's to find one that feels right when you wake up there every morning. And that's exactly what I help people figure out every single day. So if you're planning a move, whether that's 2 months away or 2 years from now, and you want to make sure you end up in the place that truly fits how you live, reach out anytime. My contact info is right here on the screen and in the description below. I'll help you think through the flood zones, the commutes, the insurance, and the new construction. All the real world stuff that matters after you close. Or if you're still in research mode, I built a Southwest Florida relocation guide you can download for free. It breaks down everything from neighborhoods to school zones to even lifestyle fit and hidden costs. You'll find a link right below this video. Thanks for watching, and remember, Florida isn't just beaches and palm trees. It's a collection of stories, hidden corners, and communities that might just surprise you.